Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are on ayah number 164 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Let us continue. Allah Ta'ala says, after in the previous ayah telling us that there is none worthy of worship except He says in this ayah, Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ard wa ikhtilafil layli wan nahar wal fulki allati tajri fil bahri bima yanfa'u an-nas وما أنزل الله من السماء من ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وبث فيها من كل دابة وتصريف الرياح والسحاب المسخر بين السماء والأرض لآيات لقوم يعقلون. So in this ayah, Allah Jalla wa Ala gives us 7 ayat, signs pointing to His rububiyyah and therefore His uluhiyyah uniquely. These 7 are as follows: in the khalq, the creation of the samawat, the layers of the heavens. We are underneath the first layer. We have no idea what the other 6 layers of the highness look like. So there are 7 in total. Wal ard, this is talking about this planet Earth. Otherwise there are countless planets in the universe. So this is sign number 1. And much does Allah Jalla wa Ala speak about the heavens and the earth, because these are the most gigantic of the ayat that we can view. The reason why He begins with the samawat is probably because in the samawat there are no disobedient people. There are just the malaika who are perfectly obeying Allah Jalla wa Ala. As for on earth, then there is plenty of disobedience. So in that sense, the samawat are purer than the ard. And also the revelation descends from above, from the samawat to the earth below, just like the rain descends from above to below. Both the revelation and the rain give life in different ways. One is spiritual and the other is physical. The second ayah is the ikhtilaf, or the alternation of the night and the day. And of course we witness this every day. Just look how orderly it is. Every day it's the same type of thing. No rules are being broken. It's all extremely regimented. We are living in a planet of law and order. We are not living in a haphazard type of world where the sun can rise one day and then the next day it decides not to rise. And the third ayah, the fulk, which is the ship which runs on the Bahr, the sea, with that which would yanfa'u, benefit, an-nas, people. And this is because trade used to take place on the seas, when you have to deliver goods to another land. Of course, this is of benefit to the people. The word fulk, meaning ship, which would be the same meaning as a safina, ship, is an interesting word, because the word fulk can be masculine or feminine. In this ayah it is feminine, because He says allati, and this is used for feminine words. It can also take the masculine form as well. Not only that, it can be used for singular and plural. So it's an extremely versatile word. You do not find too many of those. And the fourth ayah, what Allah sends down from the sama, meaning highness or the sky, from water, that is the rain, فَأَحْيَا, it gives hayat, meaning life. With it, meaning with the water, to the earth after it was dead. So after the earth was barren, it had no vegetation, no plant life, nothing. Water comes down, and what do you know? We have plant growing, and plant life is life. Incidentally, this is the way that dead humans on Yawm al-Qiyamah will also be resurrected. It will be raining, and this rain will resurrect the human corpses. And the fifth ayah, وَبَثَّ, meaning spread out or dispersed. From every dabba, creature, anything which crawls is a dabba. So He's saying He has dispersed all different various types of animals. Humans can also be called dabba because they also walk on the earth. إِنَّ شَرَّ الدَّوَابِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الصُّمُّ الْبُكْمُ الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. The worst of creatures, dawab, with Allah, are those who are deaf, meaning cannot hear the truth, are those who cannot speak the truth, so they do not have intellect, meaning intellect of irshad, that which would guide them. And ayah number 6, وَالتَّصْرِيفِ الرِّيَاحِ. Tasrif, sarrafa yusarrifu, here means to change. Riyah is the plural of rih, meaning wind. So how is the wind changeable? Well, it can blow from different directions. The wind does not just blow in one direction. In fact, if it did only blow in one direction, this could be detrimental to people. There's also other things like some winds, they pollinate and other winds do not. Some are winds of destruction, others are winds of mercy. So the wind can change in many different ways. The Prophet is on record as having said, "Nusirtu bis-saba wa uhlikat 'ad bid-dabur." I have been given victory with the Saba. This is the wind that blows from the east. And 'Ad were destroyed by the Dabur, which is the wind which blows from the west. Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma mentions that there are 8 winds which are mentioned in the Quran. 4 are winds of punishment: Qasif, Asif, Sarsar, and Aqim. All of these are mentioned in the Quran. And he says 4 are winds of mercy: Nashirat, Mubashirat, Mursalat, Dhariyat. And these are also mentioned in the Quran. And we have finally ayah number 7, was Sahab. This means clouds. The word Sahab is a general collective word meaning clouds. One particular cloud would be Sahaba with a ta marbuta. Musakhar, a mudallal. It is controlled and subdued. So the clouds are controlled and subdued, meaning held in place between the first heaven and the earth. Or you can say between the sky above it and between the earth, because sama means highness. So in all of these 7 ayat that we can observe, there are signs for people who have aql. This is the aql al-irshad, the aql, the intellect which guides you to the right path. We are not talking about the aql al-idrak, the intellect by which you comprehend matters around you. And this ayah came down when the kuffar asked the Prophet about signs that Allah alone is worthy of worship. Because in the previous ayah, the one before this, Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned that He alone is worthy of worship. And the reason why He alone is worthy of worship is because of signs such as the 7 mentioned in this ayah. No other God which is worshipped can give you signs like these. So reflecting on this ayah, what might we pick up? Well, first of all, we can pick up that this whole universe and everything that is in it is created. In other words, it did not go back eternally, meaning there was a point in time at which it began to exist. And this is in refutation to those people who say that the universe existed eternally in the past. Of course, they are trying to evade the belief in a creator. And also, a popular atheist argument is that these signs that we see around us, they're completely natural. They can be explained via scientific processes. There's simply no need to postulate a deity. We say, of course, these signs, such as the creation of the heavens and the earth and how it was created, can be explained scientifically, as well as how the winds blow and the variation of the animals and plant life and so on, and the clouds and the alternation of night and day, and all these types of things. We can explain how the ships sail on the sea and they do not sink. All of this can be explained via scientific mechanical processes. Yes, that is true. However, what needs to be pondered on is the fact that we are living in a world in which there are these scientific laws which keep consistent day after day, and that we're not living in some haphazard world. The fact that there are even scientific laws is worth pondering over. Now that is something that science cannot explain. In other words, science cannot explain the fact that there is science to begin with. The fact that we do have governing scientific laws which remain uniform and consistent day after day points to something that has organized the affairs of the universe. So if people with a correct intellect reflect on these ayat, they would have to come to the conclusion that yes, there is an organizer, meaning somebody who is a mudabbir, one who organizes the affairs. And of course, tadbir is from the rububiyyah of Allah Jalla wa Ala. However, you are going to get some of these stubborn people who will say that no, all of this is just chance. And we are, of course, extremely fortunate. And you can see what they're trying to do. They're just trying to clutch onto straws, trying to clutch onto anything that will make them avoid a creator. Otherwise, they will never use the chance hypothesis for anything else in life. But for this particular matter, yes, it must just be chance, and that's it. And there's not much you can do with people like this other than to ignore them, leave them, and stop wasting your time with them. Because these people do not have an aql, that is, an aqlul irshad, the intellect that guides them to the truth. However, the most important lesson that we have to take from ayat such as these, talking about the signs of Allah, is not just to look at these signs and say, oh wow, how amazing and beautiful these things are. No, the main lesson is to look at these signs for it to affect us and move us and animate us into worshipping Allah Jalla wa Ala alone. This is the whole point. Okay, let's move to ayah 165. So after making mention of all of these ayat which are unique to Allah Jalla wa Ala, no one else has any say in this matter. You would think, after reflecting on these ayat, that people will only worship Allah Jalla wa Ala, and yet in ayah 165 Allah Jalla wa Ala tells us, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَتَّخِذُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ وَلَوْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِذْ يَرَوْنَ الْعَذَابَ أَنَّ الْقُوَّةَ لِلَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. From the people, he says, are those who يَتَّخِذُ take مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ from other than Allah, أَنْدَادًا, the plural of nid, meaning pair or a colleague. They have colleagues or peers or equals to Allah, that is false gods. يُحِبُّونَهُمْ, they love them, meaning the mushrikun love these false gods, كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ, as they would love Allah. In other words, the extreme love you would have for Allah, they have the same level for their false gods. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and those who believe, we spoke about Iman before, أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ, they are more severe in their love for Allah. So what does that mean? It means that they love Allah more than the mushrikun love Allah, because the mushrikun will only turn their faces to Allah in dua when they are in need and in desperate circumstances, whereas the true believers turn their face to Allah during times of distress and happiness, during all times. So of course this is stricter and severer love. Also, the believers do not make shirk in their love. The love of Allah is unique and the highest. They do not share any other false gods in their love to Allah Jalla wa Ala. Not only that, but we can say that the mu'minun love Allah more than the mushrikun love their false gods. So this ayah can mean all of this. And then he says, and if only those who ظلموا, do wrong, meaning the kuffar and the rebellious people, if only those who do wrong could see, إِذْ يَرَوْنَ الْعَذَابِ, when they see the torment, and the jawab al-shart is missing, the taqdeer, or what it equals to, is that they would realize how detrimental kufr is. Or we could say they would then realize that they should never have committed shirk. Or we could also say they would then realize that they were in misguidance. So the jawab al-shart is missing, and the reason why it would be missing is because it makes the whole sentence sound more scary when you do not include the jawab al-shart. So we have a condition and the answer to that condition. For example, if you do not do your homework, I will ground you. So you have a condition, if you do not do your homework, And the jawab, the answer to that condition is, I will ground you. So you will not be able to leave the house. But you can make it sound more scary by saying, if only you could see when you do not do your homework. And you just leave off the jawab al-shart. So this makes it sound more scary. Also notice that the word idh is used. Idh normally means when, as in when in the past, not when in the future. But the word idh is used here denoting the future, meaning Yawm al-Qiyamah, because the future with regards to Allah Jalla wa Ala may as well be the past in that it is bound to happen. Just like you know the past has definitely happened, nothing can change it. But with Allah Jalla wa Ala, the future is the same. When Allah decrees something, it cannot be changed. It is as good as happening in the past, which cannot be changed. So notice this subtle point. He says, أَنَّ الْقُوَّةَ لِلَّهِ جَمِيعًا, that all the power belongs to Allah, meaning they will see that. And Allah is شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ, that Allah is severe in torment. So if we read this translation with the jawab al-shart, which is muqaddar in it, then the translation would read as follows. And if only those who did wrong could see, when they see the punishment, that all the power belongs to Allah and that Allah is severe in torment, they would never have taken any partners besides Allah. Okay, let's reflect on this ayah. We may take that love of Allah is an act of ibadah. So to Allah we have the hubbul ibadah, the love of ibadah. And this is the love which enables you to see Allah as your creator, worthy of worship, to whom you direct your veneration and your obedience and worship. That type of love now can only be directed to Allah. It cannot be directed to your wife, your children, your parents and your siblings, because if you were to do that, then this would be outright major shirk. We may take a broad point that the mu'min loves Allah more than the kuffar love their kufr, whatever that kufr may be, whether it be false gods, whether it be hedonism, whether it be atheism or the human rights, whatever other type of taghut that they have set up. The bottom line is that the mu'min loves Allah more than the kuffar love their taghut. We can also take that Allah links the love of Allah to the iman, which would then mean that the more iman you have, the higher your love for Allah Jalla wa Ala, and the less so, the less so. Somebody may object and say that the ayah says that all the quwwah, all the power belongs to Allah. But is it not true that there are humans who have much power, like kings and so on? We say, no, all the power does belong to Allah. Even the power of humans, where did that come from? It is Allah who put them in authority. Without Allah, nobody has any power, so ultimately all the power returns back to Allah. We also take that Allah, despite being merciful, is severe in torment to those who deserve it. And in this there is a warning for all of us, so that we may be on guard. Wallahu a'lam.